In the early 1960s, the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union was more than just a race to the stars. It was a war of secrecy, prestige, and survival. Officially, Yuri Gagarin was the first human to reach space. But for decades, strange recordings, leaked transmissions, and whispers from behind the Iron Curtain have suggested something else, that others went up before him and never came back. Some believe those early cosmonauts were lost in silence, and that their final moments were captured in chilling radio transmissions, never meant to be heard. Today at Mind Vale, we're tuning into one of the darkest chapters of the space race, where official records end and the real story begins. In 1960, two amateur radio operators in Italy, Achille and Giovanni Giudica Cordiglia, claimed to intercept a signal unlike anything they'd heard before. Through layers of static, they heard heavy breathing, distorted heartbeats, and the faint voice of a man speaking Russian. Then, silence. Over the next few years, they recorded more. A woman's voice begging for help, another describing how their capsule was losing pressure, one transmission sounding like someone drifting endlessly into space. The Soviet Union denied all of it, but the voices kept coming. These weren't random signals. They included telemetry codes, pulse rates, and mission call signs. Some researchers believe they were secret Soviet test flights that ended in tragedy. One name that surfaced was Ivan Istochnikov, allegedly launched aboard Soyuz 2. Officially, that capsule was uncrewed, but leaked documents suggested otherwise. According to some, Ivan's flight failed catastrophically, and he was erased from history. The most disturbing recording came in May 1961. The Giudica Cordiglia brothers claimed to capture the voice of a woman in space. Calm at first, then increasingly panicked. She described rising temperatures, failing systems, and pleaded, "Can you hear me? I'm hot, I'm burning," before her voice faded into static. No official mission matched the timeline. No Soviet woman was ever listed, but some believe she was the first woman in space, sent up and left to die alone in orbit. Other names began to surface: Viktor Ivanovich, Alexei Ledovsky, Andrei Mitkov, all allegedly part of early test flights, but none appeared on any official list. Some documents mention them, others don't. Photos from early cosmonaut classes were edited. Faces vanished. Launch reports ended abruptly. It wasn't just that these cosmonauts were missing. It was as if they'd never existed at all. Declassified CIA documents show that American intelligence had suspicions. Satellite images showed launches that didn't match public reports. Internal memos referred to unconfirmed casualties. Some analysts even referenced ghost launches, missions with no official trail. But the West stayed quiet, whether it was doubt, diplomacy, or denial. The silence wasn't just Soviet. Skeptics say the Italian brothers faked the tapes, or misinterpreted space junk signals. No independent body ever authenticated the recordings. The Soviets called it a hoax, and yet the voices remain. To this day, no one has definitively disproved them. If they were fabricated, they're terrifyingly convincing. If they were real, they're the last echoes of people the world was never meant to remember. If the transmissions were genuine, they may be the only surviving record of forgotten pioneers, individuals who risked everything to reach beyond Earth's grasp and disappeared into silence. Not astronauts of fame, but shadows erased from history. Their names never made the textbooks. Their faces were airbrushed from photographs. No medals, no monuments, just static. And yet, their voices may still drift through the black, trapped in decaying orbits, looping endlessly around a planet that never knew they were gone. Echoes of final moments, desperate words hurled into the void, never meant to be heard, and never forgotten once they were. Because maybe somewhere between Earth and eternity, they're still out there, waiting, orbiting, calling home. If this story left you questioning what's really been left off the record, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Mind Veil, and click the playlist on screen, or at the top of the description to explore even more strange disappearances, forgotten voices, and unsolved mysteries.